There was plenty of entertainment on offer at the Paul Ricard circuit for the French Grand Prix this Sunday, and it was good news for Red Bull, bad news for Ferrari, and a pretty good weekend as well for Mercedes. There's plenty to dive into, so here is our race recap of everything that went down at the French Grand Prix. Max Verstappen eventually cruised to yet another victory to extend his lead at the top of the Drivers' World Championship after Charles Leclerc had a horrific spin-off and went out of the race at the Paul Ricard circuit on Sunday. For the first 12 laps, Leclerc was able to hold off the Red Bull's DRS threat, with Verstappen inside a second of the leader, but the Dutchman was forced to back off a little and eventually came in for fresh rubber around lap 16, while the lead Ferrari stayed out. Further back, in the other Scuderia car, Carlos Sainz had already worked his way up to 9th place. Lap 18 was the pivotal moment though, as Leclerc had a horror show going off while in the lead of the race at Le Beausset as the rear of his car stepped out on his Ferrari, putting the Monegasque driver into the barriers and out of the Grand Prix. Yet another race lead slipping through the fingers of the Monegasque driver. At the restart on lap 21, it was Verstappen leading Lewis Hamilton, Sergio Perez and George Russell. In just over a lap, Carlos Sainz, in the one remaining Ferrari, was past the two McLarens and Fernando Alonso and up into 5th on medium tyres, with the rest of the top 11 staying on hards. However, bad news would come the Scuderia driver's way after an unsafe release in the pit lane gave him a 5-second penalty. Verstappen was able to trundle along quite smoothly up front, with Hamilton sticking with him initially before eventually falling back, while Perez was struggling to put any sort of pressure on the British driver. Sainz was up to 4th and attacking Perez by lap 41, getting past at the start of lap 42, all while his team on the pit wall were telling him to box for fresh tyres. Then, just behind the Spaniard, George Russell and Sergio Perez made contact, forcing the Red Bull driver off the track momentarily, while bizarrely on that lap, just after getting in the top 3, Sainz came in to serve his 5-second penalty and take fresh mediums with 10 laps to go, dropping him all the way down to 9th from 3rd as he left the pit lane. Zhou Guanyu pulled to the side of the road, bringing out a virtual safety car for laps 49 and 50, and as it ended, Sergio Perez was caught napping, allowing Russell into 3rd position. But out in front, in the lead, it was a cruise to the finish for Verstappen, who took the win ahead of Lewis Hamilton and George Russell, making it 2 Mercedes on the podium. Sergio Perez will be kicking himself for finishing 4th, with Carlos Sainz eventually pulling himself back up to 5th. Fernando Alonso 6th, Lando Norris was 7th, Esteban Ocon in his home Grand Prix finishing 8th, Danny Ricciardo 9th, and Lance Stroll battling for 10th with his teammate Sebastian Vettel right till the end. Speaking after his win, Verstappen noted how tyre wear early on had been tough to battle with in the summer sun and heat in France. "We had really good pace from the start," said the Dutchman. "I was putting pressure on Charles Leclerc, but following around here with this heat, the tyres were overheating a lot. I could never really go for the move. I just tried to stay calm, tried to stay close. Of course, we pitted a bit earlier, and from there onwards, you never know how the race is going to go. The car was quick today, and of course unlucky for Charles. I hope he's okay. And from there onwards, I just did my race and looked after my tyres." Charles Leclerc called his mistake that cost him a possible win of the French Grand Prix unacceptable, as once again in the lead of a race, the driver was forced into a retirement. Unlike previous races this season, such as the Spanish Grand Prix, it was driver error that cost the Monegasque man, as he lost the rear of his car at Le Beausset in lap 18 of the race, sending his car spinning into the tyre wall. Speaking after the incident, a very candid Leclerc was very honest in his assessment of the error, saying, "As I've been saying, I think I'm performing at my highest level in my career, but if I keep doing those mistakes, then it's pointless to perform at a very high level. I'm losing too many points, 7 I think in Imola, 25 here, because honestly we probably were the strongest car on track today. So yeah, if we lose the championship by 32 points at the end of the season, I will know where they're coming from, and it's unacceptable." He went on to add that this won't change his reaction and analysis of the moment of misjudgment, and he will try to look and see how it can be avoided in the future, after admitting that he had been trying to push the car just too hard out on track. So misery for Ferrari. What did you make though of the French Grand Prix? A driver of the day? Surely it's Carlos Sainz, who had to battle, of course, the tyre wear, the drivers on track and his own team on the pit wall once more, perhaps costing him a 3rd place finish. Let us know in the comments section below, as I say, and click subscribe to stick with us here at GPFans.